You probably don't realize it, but your subconscious mind is being influenced every single day. Every video you watch, every piece of information that you take in, every sound you hear, every post you scroll past, every conversation you have, it's all shaping the way you think, the way you act, and ultimately who you become on a daily basis. And the thing is, most people don't even realize it's happening. They just go through their day autonomously scrolling, going on their phone, looking at all this garbage in the news, consuming all this terrible content on their feeds, but they never really understand what they're letting into their heads. So here's the thing. Your subconscious mind does not have a filter. It doesn't go, oh, this content's just entertainment, so I'm not going to take it in or take it seriously. I'm not going to take in this information. No, it quite literally just takes in anything you watch, anything you ingest into your knowledge, your brain just takes as gospel. And right now, everyone is feeding their brains with the equivalent of junk food. Short form videos, random entertainment, completely useless drama. And over time, this content reprograms your brain to crave instant gratification, to have zero focus, and to just be okay with mediocrity. I mean, think about it. You spend hours, days, watching other people's lives improving instead of improving your own life. You start comparing yourself, you lose motivation, and you start believing that it's normal to just be scrolling and wasting time and doing all these other terrible habits that are talked about in everyday life, in normal content. And your brain starts believing that that's what you need to do because everyone else is doing. And that's what you're always hearing through all the content that you watch. Your subconscious mind is like the autopilot of your life. It makes it easier to do habits. It even controls your habits, your confidence, your motivation, your reactions to things. If you've ever done something without even thinking about it and just automatically doing it, that's your subconscious mind. So if you're going to constantly feed it with terrible content, distractions, negativity, and ultimately low quality information, that will become your default programming. You will start to think like the content that you consume. And here's the thing, content can either completely destroy your life or it can actually transform your life. I've realized this myself in my own life. When I've been dialed in seasons where I've been grinding in the gym, I've been locked down making content like this and doing all the things that, would be improving my life, eating healthy, meditating, journaling, all the important things. It's always in a season where I'm watching all of the content based on that sort of thing. And I literally would never let anything else get into my brain. I wouldn't watch any other short form content. I wouldn't watch any Instagram reels, any TikToks, any YouTube shorts, any of this stuff. I would strictly watch, if I was going to watch YouTube, long form YouTube podcasts, learning new things about, life and learning about new skills and learning about sort of knowledge that would be beneficial for me to learn and for me to have in my everyday life. So, and then I'd slowly start watching reels and YouTube shorts and the environment around me promoting all these brain rotten memes and all this terrible stuff, talking to people around me that are like, oh dude, have you seen this sick reel that was this brain rot Shrek and he's pregnant, bro? What are you talking about? And then after a while of just consuming a bunch of this content and this information around me, what happens? I start falling into the bad habits again. My habits would start slipping, like meditating, journaling. I would just stop it. I'd train less. I'd have less focus. I'd sleep less. And in the mornings, I'd wake up and start scrolling on your phone because, that's normalized. That's a normal thing that a lot of people do. You wake up, instantly grab your phone and have a look at notifications, scroll on Facebook for a bit, Instagram, which then causes your drive to drop. And by that stage, you've spent an hour in bed and you've got nothing done. Now, none of this is because I, changed who I was or, I changed, whatever. It was literally just the content I was feeding my brain around me. And once I started curating my content again, specifically letting in only content that would be beneficial towards my growth, my success, and ultimately my daily life, my habits, watching self-improvement videos, watching podcasts, reading books about success and mindset and business, surrounding myself with people that were also passionate and focused on growth, I naturally started acting different again, back to how, you should be living your life. My subconscious mind was being reprogrammed again. All this content that you consume becomes the environment in which your brain lives in. If you just surround yourself with all these distractions and stuff, of course, you're going to fall into the bad habits. And your brain's going to be thinking about random garbage instead of getting the good shower thoughts. This is why things like dopamine detoxes are really good, because you escape all of the terrible stuff that comes with content and social media and platforms like that. You get rid of that influence on your life, on your brain. You can then look at it in the greater picture of, you can then start influencing your own life and curating it and designing it to how you want to live your life and how you want to design your life to be successful and achieve what you want to achieve. Now look, of course, you can have some downtime, you can watch some movies, you can watch, some funny YouTube videos, or you can play some video games, whatever, in your downtime. But that needs to be at least 10% of what you're consuming. So limit it to like an hour max. The rest of what you should be consuming, reading, watching, anything else that you're consuming in your daily life, should be based on something that would be beneficial to you, that would make you have a better life, be successful, get you in that motivational grind, that discipline grind. So how can you actually reprogram your subconscious mind? Step 1, you're going to audit and curate the inputs into your brain. So you're going to look at things like your social media feeds, your YouTube subscriptions, even the music you listen to, who you follow, and just think, is it helping you or is it hurting you? And now you're just going to sift through it, unsubscribe, click not interested on any of the content, any of the people you follow, any of the subscriptions that isn't doing you any benefits. And instead replace these mindless entertainment content creators with ones that will give you good content and education and inspire you and motivate you. Watching things that align with what your goals are. Step 2 is using repetition to your advantage. Your subconscious mind actually learns through repetition. So if you're constantly feeding it with beneficial things like education and discipline and growth and business and success and whatever your goals are, or whatever your field or your niche is, and feeding your brain just repetitively with whatever that content is, that will become ingrained in your brain and will become an automatic behavior. Instead of just mindlessly scrolling, have parts of your day where you're purposefully scrolling, looking for content that would actually help you and give you some benefit and some knowledge. And then you can have your downtime at the end of the day, like an hour or whatever it is before bed, preferably like an hour or so before bed, and just binge watch whatever you want to just binge watch whatever you want just to have that sort of downtime, or do whatever you want, play a video game, right? Get relaxed before bed, calm yourself so you can get a good night's rest. And then all you're going to do is reinforce this action, which is step 3. Once you consume something valuable or something that you would like to take with you, just act on it, or journal about how you can implement it into your daily life. Apply it to your life, figure out ways you can use it. And that's how you get locked into your subconscious mind for real. Now, when you're able to curate all these things, you can cut out a lot of the noise that actually comes from daily distractions. And you can consolidate your mind and actually really lock in what you're trying to focus on and simplify your goals and your life. Once you give yourself and your brain a clear direction and you cut out all the rest of the noise, it becomes really simple and the path is highlighted ahead of you. So here's a quick takeaway. Your subconscious mind, let's say, is like a garden. It grows whatever you plant inside of it. If you plant garbage, don't be surprised that nothing actually grows and that it'll start smelling bad and it'll look terrible. But if you plant the good plants that your mind envisioned in the start to have a beautiful, nicely curated garden, you want to plant the right plants: discipline, focus, success, and purpose. And if you plant those exact plants, well, what's going to happen? That's what's going to grow. Be really intentional about what you let into your brain and plant the right plants. Be the God for your mind, because your mind is sacred. Thank you for watching.